Coach, what did you think about from the very start? It wasn't flawless, but got off to a great start.
I just thought that we played the way that we have to play. And I thought we had great energy. I thought our spirit was all going in the same direction. I think that the communication, everybody was on the same page. I mentioned it to him in pregame, like, I don't know, like as quickly as you can cover an opponent is what we did. We had an hour and 45-minute real practice yesterday, not guarding their stuff, doing what we're supposed to do. Holler and scream film session. Yesterday morning, holler and scream session, film session. Last night after practice, film session again this morning. Both my sons, one of our GAs, 2 managers. I taught them 10 plays last night.
Yeah, we saw it.
In the room.
They executed them well.
They did good. Yeah, there's a lot of lessons. The number one lesson is I've done a bad job over the last 2.5, 3 weeks in our leadership. I think there was some subliminal, we think that we're something that we're not, and we kind of got away, not necessarily in an egotistical way, but we got away from the fight and the tenacity that we have to play with, and that's a reflection of me. And so I think we were much more back to ourselves today, and we've got to make sure that we stay in that narrow lane. We're playing a distinctly tougher schedule than we've ever played since we've been here. I think Thursday caught us off guard. I gave too much grace going into Friday, and then Friday just disintegrated. And I do think that the character of our people, players and coaches and the families that they represent, I think their response was right since Friday night's game. And so if that's the lesson we learned, and we learned it in the second week of the season, and over the next 17 weeks, we can maturely handle that wisdom in the right way from this experience, then it was worth however much Texas A&M spent for us to come up here.
No question. And also go through just having to deal with, because it was a surprise you mentioned that, but if you look at it, and what jumped out at me is be us.
Yeah.
That's us right there, right? And,
Yeah.
and you don't really know it. You got to have the visual a little bit too, because it's a young team, and so that reiterates what us is, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just encouraged, and like it's so immature on my part, you know, like you somewhat as a coach when you get old, I think you want to win for everyone. But selfishly, you want to win so you can breathe. Mm-hmm. And then when you lose, you feel suffocated. And the thing that I'm convicted by is I don't think that my approach was right. And that leaked into the program. And so I do think that you could feel the spirit of us today, whether you were here. I would think even if you were watching it on TV, I think you could feel the spirit, and I think that intangible is something that I hope makes us who we are.
Well, if you get to go to practice or you've been to practice, you know how detail-oriented you are. One of the things that sticks with me, ball in the air. Make it
airtime.
Airtime.
Airtime is our time. It was quote shirt, year number 4, quote shirt number 4. Airtime is our time, and that's when the ball is in the air on a pass. We all have responsibilities. When the ball is in the air on a shot, we all have responsibilities. When the ball is in the air on the floor and it's loose, we all have responsibilities. And that was much more apparent today.
It was night and day.
Yeah, sure.
The other part of it,
I agree.
The other part of it is that the first the 4 minutes before half and the 4 minutes.
Yeah,
I
learned that from a really smart guy. He's one of my secret friends, and I don't tell anybody his name. He's really smart. He spent 30-ish years in the NFL working for some of the best ever, and has become an author. And through some randomness, he and I have become friends. And he talks about in the NFL, one of the things that they study is the is the middle 8 minutes. And so he taught it to me this summer in one of our talks, and then I've taught it to our players a little bit before our first game, concentrating on the middle 8. And so that would obviously be the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. In the last 4 minutes of the first half today, we won 7-0. And then in the first 4 minutes of the second half, we won 9-5. And so we won the middle 8, 16-5. And I know everybody understands math, but that's 20% of the game.
Right.
And it's like I always talk to our guys about we have to find things to compete in that there's not a stat for. Air time is our time. There's not a stat for running towards the ball. There's not a stat on when the ball is in the air on the rise of a shot, what you're supposed to do. There's the stat for what happens on the backside of that. Was it a defensive rebound? Was it a made shot? Was it an offensive rebound? Was the shot contested? Like, we have to keep score, and we have to continue to identify things that are not in the box score. If we're only looking at the box score, comparatively speaking, that's what everybody's looking at. We don't need to pay attention to what everybody else is looking at. We need to play a different game.
One of the things that also jumped out at me tonight, and you know how things, basketball's basketball. Shots go in, they don't go in. Luck occurs in, you make breaks for yourself. But getting back into plays when something negative happened and not sitting around and feeling sorry for yourself. I thought that more so evident today. We turn it over, we get right back into the play, come up with a loose ball.
Yeah, you know, I think we taught it in it could have been year 1, it may be year 3. I'd have to ask Dre, but E plus R equals O. That didn't come from me. That's a great book by Viktor Frankl, and everybody's turned it into a lot of leadership stuff. But event plus response equals outcome, and so many times the world is only focused on the E and the O, whatever just happened or whatever the outcome was. But our whole key needs to be our response. And just like you mentioned, our response on Thursday and Friday to an adverse situation, whatever that play was or that ATO or whatever, our R was really, really bad. And so we need to continue to grow our R. And in many respects, your response is going to be in things that are not necessarily countable.
Again, it goes back to those things not on the stat sheet, right?
That's exactly right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Buzz Williams, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm thankful that we get on the plane and.
How about go home and work a little bit more and play another game?
Yeah, it's a unique week. When I was growing up, on Black Friday, all the ladies in our family, they went shopping, and all of the men in our family, it was Cowboys and Redskins at noon, and. That was when I was young. It was Coach Landry, and then as I became a teenager, one of only 4 people that I identified with as one of my heroes, Jimmy Johnson, was the head coach, and I never thought that I would be coaching a basketball game on noon on Black Friday. I think the Packers and the Bears typically play either on the Friday after Thanksgiving or the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And obviously when we lived in Milwaukee, that was a big game. You know, the last game of the season was at one place. Anyway, that's probably a little bit too much. Thank you, guys.
Coach,
right, great win.
Thanks so much. It really